on the computer. Okay, perfect. Well, hello Megan, and thank you for being with us today for our first Women's Month chat. It's so lovely to have you here. So just how are you doing? How have things been?
Thank you so much, Claire. I absolutely love Just Hello, and it's always such an honor to be able to speak to you. Yeah, it's been good. As you can see, I'm at home. You can see all my background. So working from home now, I'm immune compromised. So being out in the public is just not possible. I had to go to the doctor for a checkup, and I was like, oh, what do I do? And I had such anxiety around it because she's at the hospital, so you have to go through the whole hospital protocol. Like, there's a pre-thing that you have to fill in before you even allowed into the hospital, then your temperature, then go here, I think I washed my hands about 6 times before I got into her room. So it's a whole new normal that we sort of have to get used to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's such a strange time, but in some ways it's quite nice. Like, I'm actually enjoying some of these extra protective measures because I've always been a bit of a germaphobe. So some of these things are quite nice, even though this whole situation is not nice. I guess, it's teaching us to think about different priorities as well, and sort of changing the way we do things and what we think of as important. So, as you say, just new and having to adapt to all of it, but also that anxiety that comes along with it. Is managing their anxiety okay? If not, get in touch. We have some wonderful coaches who deal with anxiety. So that's just a public service announcement of extra help. So Megan, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your journey, and where you are and what you're at, what's happening with you.
So I'm just a regular woman, can't really say a girl anymore, except I have a rare disease. So in 2004, I was diagnosed with a condition known as myasthenia gravis. And what happens is the message between my nerves and my muscles gets blocked. So it affects all of the muscles throughout my body, from speech, swallowing, I can't close my eyes properly, walking, lifting my arms above my head, carrying things. Worst case scenario is it gets into your diaphragm and your lungs and you stop breathing, because those are obviously muscles as well. And so I've been ventilated once because my lungs collapsed. And then the only real treatment that there is immune suppressants, which means that you're then prone to all the other infections and horrors and stuff flying around. So it's been a bit of a journey with trying to balance what I want to do and what's good for me. I might go for a walk today because I'm feeling strong and then pay for it for the next week. So I've just sort of had to try and learn what my new normal is. I am very lucky that I found a man that loves me with my warts and all. So we got married in 2012. We've got 4 fur children. They're full of nonsense, but they fill our lives with such joy. And we moved from Natal 4 years ago to Joburg, which was flippin' scary, because I think coming from Natal, it's like small town mentality. Joburg is a big, scary place. And the first thing everyone said to us was, how are you going to cope with the traffic? That was a huge thing. And we love it here, absolutely love it. I feel like we've come into our own. And yeah, I work for Rare Diseases South Africa, and I run the Rare Bear Project. And I'm so happy. And the beginning of last year, I had a stem cell transplant for my condition. It was the first one in South Africa for myasthenia gravis. And it was awful. It was terrible. My doctor said to me, if I had to do it again, would I? And not a chance. It's changed my life. It really has. And I've got quality of life back that I haven't had since before my diagnosis. But it was awful. It broke me. There were times when I would phone my husband in tears saying, I'd rather die than carry on through this. Just the emotional aspect of it. Like you saw, you're nauseous because you chemo. I lost all my hair, but it's grown back. And I was in hospital for over a month. I wasn't allowed to see people for 3 months. So it was kind of like preparing me for this lockdown.
Yeah.
But it was terrible. Yeah, but now I'm happy and I'm healthy-ish. Yeah, so that's me.
Awesome. And it does sound like a very difficult journey, but you always seem so positive and motivated. So sort of how do you keep that positivity? Because whenever we speak to you, you just seem so lively and positive, and it's like such a wonderful energy.
Thank you so much. I think I really try to be positive because sometimes you feel like you're in a deep dark hole, and if you start thinking of all the negative things and all the bad things that are happening, it can destroy you. So I try and look for one good thing every day. So whether it's the fact that the sun is shining, or my husband brought me a cup of tea in bed, or I got to have an extra 10 minutes cuddling with my dogs before I had to get up. Whatever it is, I look for that. And I just try and pass on that happiness. So like when I go to the shops, I take the time to talk to the car guards. I speak to the people who are working at the shops, the packers of our groceries, because they're also going through a hell of a tough time. And I think especially now in lockdown, people just want to get in and out. They don't want to talk to other people. They don't want to tip the car guard. They don't want to do any of that. So it's just reminding people that they're loved is what's really important to me.
Oh, that's really wonderful. That is so important, like looking for those small things that we can be grateful for. And especially during a time like this, it's so tricky because it is so difficult and there's so much anxiety. And as you say, everybody, like when they do go out, it's stressful and you want to get out and get home quickly. And it's, there's so much disconnection. So I think that that's just a wonderful way to look at it, like to think of something, even the tiniest, like positive thing you can look for in your day, just to keep you motivated and keep you going. And as we were saying just now, all you can do right now is just keep going as best as we can. With your stem cell transplant, was that a once-off procedure? So would you have to have that again, or is that now it's done?
So it was really harsh on my body. It should just be a once-off thing. We were hoping that it would put me into full remission, but unfortunately my symptoms have started coming back. I actually went to go see a doctor earlier this week just to try and understand what's going on and why my body is reacting like this. And they think that there's another autoimmune condition that's come up. And unfortunately with autoimmune conditions, they do like to have friends. So they like to hold hands and play ring a rosies in people's bodies. They never just want to be a loner. So they think that there's something else lurking. And so we're busy going through tests and stuff just to see what it could be. But yeah, the stem cell transplant should just be a once-off because of how harsh it is on your body. You go through chemo and it kills off your entire immunity in your body, and you then they retransplant your stem cells. So it's almost like a hard reset of your body, and to try and make it remember what it should be doing. The best way to explain what happens in an autoimmune condition is think of your immunity like little soldiers, and they're out there and they should just be fighting the baddies, or like when you get sick, that's what they should be fighting. But with an autoimmune condition, they get confused and they just fight everything. So they fight my body. And the stem cell transplant was meant to make them remember what they should be fighting. Yeah.
So I'm really sorry to hear that you're going through that again, or going through these new symptoms. And I know like autoimmune disease is so complicated. But what I do think is wonderful is that you're like open about it and you're bringing a lot of this to light, because so many people are unaware of autoimmune diseases and sort of these invisible illnesses that people live with every day, but because you don't really look sick, people don't actually think you are sick. And I mean, that's like the point of rare diseases in South Africa, isn't it? Is like to bring this awareness and to help raise funds for rare diseases.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's over 7,000 rare conditions in the world, which is huge.
Yeah.
So there's a saying that's individually rare, collectively common. If you were to put us all together, so all the rare disease patients in the world, there would be more of us than those with cancer and AIDS combined. So, I mean, that is huge, but people don't know about us because there's maybe 50 people that have our condition worldwide, or like some of the rare conditions, there's literally 2 people that they know of in the entire world that has that. So rare diseases is really working hard to create awareness and just help all of our patients know that they aren't alone, because it's such a difficult journey, and it's not just the patient that it's difficult for, it's the whole family. Like, as a mother, what do you do when your child gets sick and no one around you understands? Like when you have to cancel dates at the last minute, or birthday parties, or you can't show up, or you can't leave your child alone because he has to have his medicine or his injection, or he has to be fed through a tube, so he can't go for sleepovers. How do you feel like you fit in?
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with something that people don't understand.
Yeah.
And at Rare Diseases, we really just want to form a tribe of people that will be there for you no matter what.
Yeah, that's incredible. And then you also have the Rare Bear Project. So can you tell us a little bit about that project? Because that's also such an amazing project for like uplifting women as well as like helping people with rare diseases. Can you just tell us a little bit about that project?
So it's really my passion project. I get so excited talking about it. We've got ladies living in Kaya Sands, which is our local township, and we realized that they were all sitting at home and not working. So they were staying at home because they have kids, and if they were to go out and get work, they would be paying more for childcare than what they would actually be earning. And so we knew that we wanted to be able to send all of our patients something special, something one of a kind. And we didn't just want to go to like a toy shop and buy a toy to send off. So we got involved with these ladies in Kaya Sands, and we've taught them how to crochet. And so they make our little rare bears. So we've got 7 in the range. We have a unicorn, a sheep, a rhino, a lion, a zebra, a giraffe, and an elephant. And people can either buy one for themselves or they can donate one to a rare disease patient. And we send them throughout South Africa. And seeing these women and what it's done for them, going from digging in bins to try and feed their families to now being able to send their kids to school. They can buy clothing for them. They don't have to rely on their husband, who was oftentimes, unfortunately, abusive or would drink away all of their money, so they couldn't buy nappies for the kids or milk or even food. And our one lady recently bought a cow for her family back in Zimbabwe, which is massive. Like that's
amazing.
It's such a great thing that they have that pride in themselves, and they know that through their hard work, they've been able to do all of this.
Oh, it's incredible. And I mean, those are like the kinds of projects we need that are helping to uplift women and give them independence and to help them support themselves and not rely on men necessarily. So that's incredible. That's such an amazing project. And it's so wonderful because it's helping those women, but also bringing like joy to the children who receive the rare bears. And they're so cute. I've seen a few of the rare bears. I mean, they're so gorgeous. But I know during like this year, it's been a bit tricky for the Rare Bear Project. I think that as with a lot of sort of charitable organizations. So how are some of the ways that the community can help towards the Rare Bear Project?
So it's been really tough because government has made no provision for NPOs. Absolutely nothing. And NPOs battle enough as it is, like to raise money. We use a lot of events as our fundraising, so like 947 Two Oceans. Now, those probably, well, 2 oceans didn't happen. 947 will probably not be happening. So that takes away a huge chunk of our fundraising.
Yeah.
And with the lockdown, our ladies couldn't even go buy wool to be able to make crochet toys. I was going out there because I had a pass to be able to help feed them, and Sagon Susie got on board and has fed our ladies throughout lockdown, which, I mean, if it wasn't for them, our ladies would literally be starving.
That's cool, actually.
Yeah. And then we had people who donated funds, and we've been trying to sort of save it up. So we didn't pay the ladies a huge amount all at once, because we don't know how long this lockdown is going to go on for and how long it's going to affect us.
Yeah.
So we've been paying them a little bit extra every month to try and see them through and help them. And then 2 weeks ago, the church where we meet, which is like the safe place in Kaya Sands, it burnt down. Sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so it's the one church in Kaya Sands. It's the safe place where we meet, where we know that nothing will happen to us. It's also the school where all the kiddies go to. A lot of them don't have ID books, so they can't go to a regular school. So this school is where the parents don't have to pay fees because a lot of them can't afford it. They teach them English, they teach them to read and write, they teach them all the basics, and everything went in the fire. So there was an electrical fault under the stage, and by the time the fire engine got there, they said there was nothing they could do because it had just got too hot, it had burnt too much. The church was built in those metal containers, and the metal had actually warped from the heat. So the whole ceiling there's holes in it. The roof, the floor and carpets have completely gone. Everything that was inside there is gone. We had got all the sanitization ready for the kids to come back. We had those stations, we had sanitizer. We had masks for all the kiddies and for them to take home for their families. All the stationery, the desks, the chairs, everything is gone. And how do you even begin? Like, where do you start with something like that? The pastor is really broken because it was his life savings. He got no assistance to actually build it, and now it's gone. So that's really our big call for help at the moment, is just to be able to rebuild the church and the school.
Do you have a kind of campaign running to raise money for that? Is there a place where people can send money or goods?
So if people want to donate goods, they're welcome to drop them off at the rare disease offices in Broadacres, or they can come out to Kaya Sands. If they'd like to see it for themselves, I'm happy to meet them out there. Okay. I think people are always a little bit wary when someone else is asking for assistance. They want to see that it's real. I went there yesterday, and you can still smell the burnt smell in the air. There were chairs that were literally like a big glob, and other things that you couldn't see. They're just trying to clear out the church at the moment, just to see if there's absolutely anything that they can salvage. And on our Facebook page, Rare Bear Project, there's a post that's been pinned to the top, and that gives a little bit more information about how people can get involved.
Fantastic, and I'll definitely put links to those in the comment section, so if anybody can donate to helping to rebuild obviously such an important part of the community, the church. So if anybody can help towards that, then please go check out those links and see, what ways you can help. Oh, that's just terrible. Of everything else, just to have that. Oh.
Yeah, and they don't have insurance because it's a poor community. they can't afford something like that. And like for some people, it might be like, oh, well, it's so silly of them. But if they've got to have money to feed the community or get insurance for the church, it's going to go to feeding the community. So unfortunately, everything that we've lost, we've lost.
Yeah, so let's definitely see if what we all can do to help contribute towards that, and just to contribute to the Rare Bear project, because that's such an amazing project, and it's like a project that I think is amazing because of the way it helps uplift women in the community, which is something that we need so much of. I'm so sorry. It's been such a rough year in so many ways, and I guess that again reminds us to be grateful for what we do have, and a lot of the privileges that we might have over other people. And even though, it's okay to feel down and anxious and sad about our own position, I think it also helping others is also a great way to make, to help the lives of others, but also to make for what you do have as well. I'll definitely post links so everybody can check that out and see how we can help with that.
Thank you, Claire.
It's a pleasure. But Megan, you don't only just do the rare diseases and rare bear project. You also have your flower crowns and treatment blog. So what is that all about?
So when I was going through all of my treatments, I used to be admitted on a monthly basis for a week at a time for different treatments. And I began to realize that definitely more awareness for rare conditions as a whole needed to be created. So I wanted to start a blog about that, but I also didn't want it just to be like doom and gloom. So that's where the flower crown side came in. And sorry. To me, a flower crown is like being a fairy princess. Like you're happy and you find the good out there, and that's really what I want my blog to be about, is spreading kindness and creating awareness for small businesses. And this was before lockdown, and I've always been a big supporter of small businesses because I know that people have started that because of a heart passion. And during lockdown, it's been proved to me over and over again how important the support of small businesses is. And so that's really what my blog focuses on, is I find these amazing small businesses in South Africa, and I write about them. I help them get their name out there, and just try and spread kindness wherever I can.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. And I've seen some of the businesses you posted, and it looks like they have some amazing products and services. And that's also so great, because I think that's what we need, especially in South Africa, like the support for the small businesses, and just trying to uplift each other and support each other as much as we can. And especially now, like as things are starting to get back to normal, I think trying to help out small businesses as much as we can. So it's a really great blog, and your pictures are always so beautiful on the blog. Every time I see them, like the flower crowns, it is such a wonderful image, and it's such a great branding.
Thank you so much.
And then, do you also do social work with social media?
Yes. So in my spare time, so again, with all my hospitalizations, when I was off work for so long, I was thinking, what can I still do? I don't want to just lie in a hospital bed and like do nothing. So I started up a social media business for small to medium businesses, and I manage all of their social media. So from websites, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it is, I help to build it up. I also give one-on-one lessons, because I know not all small businesses have the budget to employ someone. So I do one-on-one lessons. I help people learn what they're doing, what I'm doing, because ultimately I want people to be able to have that skill and not always have to rely on someone else to do it for them.
Definitely. That's fantastic. And so where can we find out more about that business?
So that business is called Socialite Digital. It's social-light, L-I-T-E, digital. And my email address is megan@sldigital.co.za.
Awesome. So we'll post links for those as well. So what are some of the challenges, but also the highlights that you find as a businesswoman?
Some of the challenges are definitely like trying to find the time and trying to balance work life and home life. And I think especially working from home, it's so easy to just keep working or to turn on your laptop over a weekend because it's there and you know that stuff needs to get done. And especially in the early stages of a business, you want to give everything and you want to do everything, and you need to set up those boundaries so that your family life doesn't suffer. And and just trying to make it through financially is definitely a difficult thing, because you can have that passion, but you also need to live. So like I was so kind in the beginning and giving away all these freebies to my own detriment. So I've had to learn that you have a skill. So whatever it is, if your skill is writing, if it's taking photos, if it's social media, if it's crafting something, doing digital art, whatever it is, it's your skill and you are the expert. And I think that's so important to remember, is that you are an expert in your field, and people will pay for your expertise. So don't sell yourself short.
That's really great advice, because I do think that is something a lot of, especially business women, do. Because I think as women, we sort of conditioned to be kind and caring and helpful. And so just sort of, we want to help people. And especially when it's your passion, you're like, oh, well, I love doing this so much. Oh, okay, I'll help you out and I'll help you out. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, but I also, so one of the things that I've been reading a lot about is like thinking of money as just a kind of a form of energy. So you're just exchanging energy. So you might be exchanging your creative energy for this money energy. And for me, that's kind of helping me to think of it differently, instead of being like, oh no, but I love doing this. I shouldn't be charging it, but it's giving away your energy. So you need to be receiving something in exchange. And also, I was talking to people recently about the time management, or like setting those boundaries, especially now during lockdown. People just seem to be working so much more because they're working at home. And you think, oh, well, I'm here, I might as well just carry on working. Oh, my office, in the lounge or in your home office. So if people are finding it much harder to switch off and put those boundaries in place, as you mentioned, I think that's a really important boundary to set for yourself, so that you do find that balance.
And it is difficult because you might get on a roll with something, or you're like, oh, let me just do it now so it doesn't have to wait until Monday. But if it was a job at the office, it would wait until Monday. And nothing is that urgent that you can't have a weekend or like turn your laptop off at 6:00 or whatever.
Yeah. And I think that is also such good advice, because as you say, especially for people who are newly in business, you just get so wrapped in it and like excited about it, but then you don't want to reach that point of out or like starting to resent it because you're just working on it all the time. So that's a really important point. And what are some of the highlights of having your own business?
So definitely my highlights have been working my own hours, and being able to work from hospital or from a doctor's room. So when I was going in for chemo, I could still take my laptop and I could like whack out a few things. It's proven to me that I actually do have a skill. I think often when you work for someone else, you just feel like you slotting in to the business. Whereas working for yourself, you find your passion and you find what you're good at. And it's amazing to actually realize, yes, I'm good at doing this. Like, wow. And how amazing that we all have a unique skill, because life would be so boring if all of us were just good at admin work, or if we were all good at art. Like, I wish I was artistic, but I'm not, and I never will be. I can't sing, but then there are people out there that make a living from singing. So we all have that skill, and we just need to nurture it and look after it. I think that's definitely been one of the positives of having my own business, and just being independent.
Yeah, and I guess getting to explore those different aspects of yourself, as you said, and finding out like what you're good at. And sometimes it's really surprising. Like you never knew you were good at something, you tried and you're like, oh wow, who knew?
Yeah.
That's really awesome. So since it is Women's Month, what does Women's Month mean to you? And who are some of your female role models?
So when you send me these questions, like I really thought about it, because everyone always has this famous person, like they'll say Oprah or like some actress or someone that's like up there on a pedestal. I'm so sorry, let me just quickly close the door. Sorry. My role model is my mum. So my dad passed away 6 weeks before I was born, and my mum has never remarried. She has 3 kids. So my brother was 13 and my sister was 10 when I was born. And my mum has done everything for us. She has worked jobs where she would get holidays so she could stay home with us. She has gone without my whole life so that we could have the best possible life. She's made sure that we were clothed and fed and went to good schools and has just poured love over us. I know I could phone my mum. I mean, I'm 32 now, and still when I'm feeling sick or feeling sad, I want to phone my mum. And I think that's just because she is so special, and that's something that inspires me so much.
Oh, that's really wonderful. And as you said, a lot of the times we look to these famous, successful people, but we have women in our lives who are so important that we've got to, and like, lives.
Thank you. Yeah, she really is very, very special. And I think Women's Month is about celebrating those individuals that are real people. Like my boss who started Rare Diseases, she started it because her son has a rare condition and she wanted to have that support. And she wanted to start it as like a coffee date with other moms that were going through the same thing. And look at it now, like we've got over 2,000 members. And to me, that is an inspiring woman who has never given up. She's never let the doctors say, like they said to her, we can't get your son's medicine here, it's too expensive and we'll never pay for it. They're now paying for it. And that to me is amazing. It's because she had that fight and she never gave up.
Oof, that gave me goosebumps. Just like thinking about the strength of women and like what we can achieve, and especially like when we work together and we have these strong communities of women, like how much we can achieve and what we can change, and you know the ways that we can impact on the world. It's so incredible. Yeah, and I mean there's so many amazing female role models to aspire to that are in our communities and within our own like personal circles. So it's really wonderful. And as you said, I think that's for me also the importance of Women's Month, is recognizing those women, you know, the real women, everyday women who are making these changes and, you know, like really contributing to women's empowerment and, you know, the development of rights for women. That's awesome. Yeah. Amazing. And then, so finally, last thing, any words of advice or wisdom that you want to share with the Just Hello community?
There's a movie that I watched, I don't know if you've ever seen it, it's called Wonder, and it's about a little boy with a rare condition and his face is like, it's quite deformed and he's had to have a lot of operations, and he goes to a regular school for the first time, and it shows like his struggles but also his whole family's. And in there's a quote that has stuck with me, and it's really something that I try to bring out in every day. And it says, in a world where you can be anything, choose kind. And it is, why do we always fight so hard to be the one that's right or the one that's in control, or we want to have our voice heard over everyone else? Choose kind and you'll be amazed, it comes back to you tenfold.
Oh, that's wonderful. I have watched that movie. It was heart-wrenching, wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, but thank you, Megan, so much. This has been such a great interview, and I'm feeling inspired. But also definitely, what we'll, I'll put it out there so we can see how we can help with the challenges that are being faced in the Kaya Sands community. But this has been so wonderful, and it's women like you who are such an inspiration to us, and we just absolutely love your positive energy and your kindness and how you just spread such amazing energy. And whenever we talk to you or we're around you, just feel like so much positive, wonderful energy. So thank you so much for chatting to me today and for being part of our community and do for the women of South Africa that you're helping. It's really incredible. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire. It's so lovely to chat to you, and I appreciate everything that you're doing and for all your kind words. Flip, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Megan.